David Wolfe is a world-renowned expert on raw food nutrition, superfoods, herbal healing, and chocolate. For over 10 years, he has been researching the healing properties of foods and nutritional supplements and educating the world through his groundbreaking books. In the Sun Food Diet Success System, David helps readers interested in transitioning to a raw diet learn what to eat, what not to eat, and why. In Eating for Beauty, he explains which minerals and nutrients and which foods containing these nutrients are necessary to eat to bring about natural beauty. His most popular book by far is the book that told the world a secret we were craving to hear, that chocolate is healthy. The book, Naked Chocolate, goes through the history, nutritional benefits of, and recipes for one of the world's favorite foods, chocolate. David tirelessly travels the globe, promoting and enabling a raw plant-based diet by conducting nearly 100 health lectures and seminars, and hosts at least 6 raw adventure retreats per year. Additionally, David Wolfe is the president of the Fruit Tree Planting Foundation, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to plant 18 billion fruit trees on planet Earth. When time allows, David plays drums with the rock and roll group, the Healing Waters Band. Hello, and welcome back to Healthy Living on Supreme Master Television. Today we are delighted to have with us here in the studio David Wolfe, the world's foremost authority on chocolate. In the program today, David will be sharing with us the good news, that chocolate is healthy for us. David has been a passionate enabler of healthy living and eating through his tireless research and education on raw food nutrition, superfoods, and healing with herbs. He's authored a number of books, including Naked Chocolate, his latest release. David, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Annie. This is going to be so exciting to talk about my favorite subject of all time, which is chocolate.
Okay, tell us about chocolate. What do we have here?
It's really been a journey for me. When I was a kid, of course, I ate chocolate bars. Everybody does. I didn't know what was good, what was bad. Dark chocolate versus milk chocolate versus your standard junk food chocolate. And over the years, I really got passionate about health food and about organic food and about vegetarian food choices and about raw food nutrition. And in that process, I used to go to Hawaii a lot, and a friend of mine would give me these. He would give me I think it started out with 3 or 4. And I'd be like, what's that? And he would say, well, that's cacao. And I was like, well, what do you do with it? He said, you peel it and you throw it in a smoothie. Now, I had no idea at that time that this is the food that all chocolate is made of. If you peel the wrapper off of this tropical nut, which we call cacao, sometimes called cocoa, you'll see that inside is the chocolate bean. You see that?
Yeah, I see that.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
That's your real chocolate.
Yep, I've tried some at home. So.
What we've done here is we've actually broken it out of the wrapper so they're easier to get at. And this is what the chocolate industry uses to produce every chocolate bar and every chocolate product you've ever had in your whole life. The one thing about this food that is so absolutely enticing is it's the biggest secret ever.
And why is it the biggest secret ever?
We've all been hearing about in our newspapers and magazines and TV shows that there's something good in chocolate.
Right,
all the science journals are saying it, everybody's talking about it.
But we feel totally guilty when we eat it because it's got tons of sugar and it's got milk.
Exactly right. So we know there's something good in there, but we just didn't know what. And what my research has been about is uncovering what that thing is. Yep. And what we found that it is, it's actually this nut right here. In fact, 100 times more people on the planet eat this nut than eat almonds.
Really?
But they don't eat it.
Because they eat the chocolate.
They eat the byproduct, the processed byproduct of this.
Okay.
So what the chocolate industry does, they roast this, broast it, toast it, microwave it, basically destroy all the goodies that are in it, run that through a press so that all the oil comes out. They do that under high heat and pressure, and they damage the sensitive natural qualities that this nut has. And just like all nuts and seeds, they can be damaged by heat. Now, we figured out something years ago after my friend introduced me to this food, that there's some magic in the original natural raw food that is lost in processing.
So how does that work? I mean, what are the properties that are in chocolate?
Well, the main thing is that the oils that are in the chocolate are the noble elements. I mean, chocolate throughout all time has been eaten by the nobility of the Aztec civilization, the Mayan civilization, the Mixtec civilization, the Toltec civilization. And so there's something noble in the oils. Well, that nobility is lost by the heat processing because it turns the oil into rancid fats or trans fatty acids.
Oh.
And this is a big buzzword now, trans fatty acids.
Yep, very important for cardiovascular disease.
Absolutely, and we know that chocolate, something in it's very good for our cardiovascular system. So we don't want to damage whatever that is. That's why we have turned to this original food and discovered that inside this food is the #1 source of, compared to any food in the world, it's #1 in antioxidants.
Really? Now, okay, antioxidants.
The antioxidants protect our cells.
That's right.
And what I want to do is I want to make sure that, hey, for all you women out there, if you're concerned about the sugar and the milk, well, now you know where to go. It's the cacao nib or the cacao bean or the cocoa nib or bean. And what that nutrient is magnesium.
Ah, which is very relaxing.
Right.
Calming.
Calming.
Yeah.
And it regulates the hormonal cycle. One of the things that is also really important about chocolate and is very balancing and it's very critical for certain individuals is the chromium content of this food. And what the heck is chromium?
That's good for sugar regulation.
Right, exactly. It's a mineral that's good for sugar regulation. And chocolate, right, the original form, and again, this is what chocolate is. This is the original food.
So it was a superfood, a health food in all of these indigenous American cultures.
It's incredible. Annie, I'm telling you, it's incredible. This has always been the most revered food in the world.
You were also mentioning that it's a really good precursor for the feel-good neurotransmitters.
That's another thing that's in this little magical bean,
Okay.
and that's in chocolate. And we call them the phenethylamines, and those are precursors to adrenaline. Mm-hmm. It's precursors to dopamine. It's precursors to noradrenaline.
So dopamine is really good for the pleasure center.
Yeah.
Adrenaline kind of gets you up and gets you going.
Exactly.
And what about, I know norepinephrine, these are like excitatory. Can you explain a little bit more about
That's a precursor to adrenaline.
Okay.
So this is something that's in our bloodstream all the time. Our cells are exchanging these neurotransmitters all the time. But in our world today, we have so much stress that we need nutritional support that allows our body to produce the right neurotransmitters so we feel good in spite of all the stress.
So this is, would you say that this is a really good food for the morning when you want to like wake up and kind of get going in the morning instead of like coffee?
Well, there's an old joke, you know, choco-late, right? L-A-T-E, because you eat chocolate at night usually.
Yeah.
But if you're a coffee person and you want to stop doing the coffee, then we call it choco early.
You know, I think my dad would like that. He does about 10 cups of coffee a day.
Yeah, you know, you need to, because see, the thing about chocolate is it doesn't have caffeine. This is another big,
Well, I thought that chocolate
deal.
did have a caffeine.
Well, I did a lot of research on this, and we studied actually the cacao bean, and the cacao bean was found to contain either no caffeine or 1/20th of what's found in coffee. Therefore, it's actually insignificant. What is it in the cacao bean that triggers off the caffeine test? It's actually called theobromine, and that works on specifically for the heart.
So that's why
Chocolate and the heart,
Yeah,
right?
so that's why people like it for like Valentine's Day, and why women, when they're depressed, want chocolate.
There's probably nothing better for relationship mending and healing
Than chocolate.
chocolate.
Especially raw chocolate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And the reason why that is because it has a chemical in it, theobromine, which is a cardiovascular stimulant. In fact, this is really interesting. From about 1890 to about 1930 in the United States, the #1 medicine when someone had a heart attack was theobromine.